Who are you?
Matthew Gideon, Captain. Attached to the Earth Alliance starship Excalibur.
What do you want?
To find a cure to the Drakh plague before it wipes out all life on Earth.
Where are you going?
Anywhere I have to.
Who do you serve, and who do you trust?
Hello and welcome to Chats, a television podcast, season 6.5. Chatzylon 5 presents Crusade Chats. My name is Alan, and if I wanted to sit and talk with the dead, I would draw a pentagram on the ground and conjure up someone less interesting than my co-host Magellan. Hello! Hello! He's here, everybody! We got him in person. We rounded him up! Me and the ranchers. Me and the boys on the ranch.
You've summoned me, Kellogg, the guy who made Kellogg.
Oh yeah. Wasn't he like really racist?
Well, yeah, yes. Oh, no. Who am I thinking of? The guy whoever started General Mills
Yeah.
or Kellogg and made cereal boring so that people wouldn't masturbate.
What are you saying? These aren't real things you're saying.
That was a thing.
Mm-mm.
That, like, cornflakes were made to be boring so they wouldn't excite the blood.
Really? Is there a Drunk History episode about this?
I don't know.
There
but
should be.
It's the truth. I was trying to think of someone who's less interesting, but I think I thought of somebody who's more interesting.
Me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
This is Chatzylon 5, Season 6.5, Crusade Chats. It's Alan and Magellan. It's the Chats, boys. It's the new year.
Us. Hey.
Welcome to Chats 2020, the year where we put more numbers in the name of the show. We're going to start calling it Chatzylon 5, Season 6.5, 2020 edition, Crusade Chats 1.0. Origins.
Yeah.
0.x edition.
Yeah, it's good.
This is a podcast where we watch television shows, 2 episodes a week. And this week we watched episodes, JMS Order Episode 3 and JMS Order Episode 4 of Crusade. First up is The Memory of War, which is JMS E3 and Broadcast Episode 10. And we also watched The Long Road. Try that one more again, which is JMS E4 and Broadcast E2. First up is The Memory of War, which was written by Jumbo Mumbo Strumbo. It was directed by Tony Dow. It aired.
You gotta be a patron to understand that.
Yeah, you really do. You got to be a patron, period. Exclamation point, please.
Thank you.
Aired August 11th, 1999. I was 5 years old. And it takes place from March 30th to April 1st. April Fools! Of 2267.
Yeah.
Marge, what happened in The Memory of War?
In this episode, a virus-devastated planet may provide a paradigm for Earth's plight. If that's not what the word paradigm means,
Nope.
I don't think. If Excalibur's researchers survive their visit there. When night falls, crew members fall victim to a stalking creation of artificial intelligence. Alan, what'd you think of The Memory of War?
No.
This is not it. Jeez.
Well, so I'm the weirdo because we talked a little bit beforehand, and I feel like I enjoyed the second episode a lot more. The second episode to me...
me too. Yeah.
Okay,
that's not
good.
weird.
Oh,
That's
okay.
correct.
I thought you said you didn't want to watch the second one because you thought it was like a mess.
No, I didn't want to watch it again because I don't ever want to watch an episode of Crusade a second time.
You have DVDs of it. You have infinite watch possibilities.
You're right. I actually do want to watch them again and again and again.
What's like the gist of this one? Because it's been 24 hours since I watched it. I don't retain.
Okay, here's...
Yeah, give me a little bit of
Oh,
breakdown.
my goodness.
Max is in this one.
Yeah.
And there's zombies.
That was the one bad part about the second episode is there's
No Max. Yeah, Max would have been done great in that
Yeah.
whole scene.
Oof.
There's Galen, there's security stuff. Someone has a Google Glass.
The gist of it is that
yeah.
they're on like a planet that it's like the cities are still there.
Yes.
Yeah. You got so excited.
I was remembering during on the Sky Bridge.
And they and they think that it's a planet that was affected by the Drakh plague, but then what's revealed is that actually it was a plague that was done by like an evil techno mage. And then Galen talks to like his holocron or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I died a while ago, but my people, or like my employers,
But I have my people searching.
my people searching. the caves or whatever. Oh, Max Heilerson. Yeah, this is definitely the Max Heilerson episode. This one is like,
It sort of is. He's got some moments, yeah.
it really, I said this probably in the first episode, but the late 90s are super here. And this one felt like a late 90s ass,
Man.
sci-fi ass, bad CG looking, just everything about it. And it's still, they can't get away from trying to write a video game. Like,
Yeah.
the moment in question is like the way that they sort of learn that there's like technology stuff happening is Dorina is like, they go onto the planet, right? And they're talking about like, oh, we need security because it's dangerous. I kind of think it's interesting how much they talk about like security detail on the show
Mhm.
and how it's like a big deal when it's like, you guys are going to go down without security? Like, why? Because they're doing more dangerous work than they ever did on B5
Mhm.
and they're doing more off planets, off ship stuff.
Mhm.
I wonder if we actually ever will get like an on ship episode of Crusade.
Well,
Because in its very nature, it's not. It's about them going places.
but every episode we see that Tracy Scoggins is in the credits.
She's
So
still
like,
not there. I forgot.
we're going to Babylon 5 at some point, right?
Or not even Babel, but on the Excalibur though. Like they don't even hang out on the
yeah,
Excalibur.
the Excalibur is kind of boring.
All we know about the Excalibur is that it has a dope basketball court.
I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, right.
That kind of messed me up.
Mhm.
I thought it was lean, mean, small little machine.
Maybe it's just the duck, and then
And
the basketball court.
and that's it.
That's it.
There's nowhere for anybody to sleep.
Exactly.
They sleep on the basketball court.
And like I get it. It's the late 90s, and
Yeah, I eat, sleep, and breathe on the court myself. So understand.
I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Yeah.
yeah.
We're trying to be like Mike here on the chat show.
I've got hoop dreams myself.
Me personally, I possess hoop dreams.
Yeah.
They are trying to do off-planet stuff and not have it look like Star Trek, like fake plastic rock sets, but instead it's like, instead of practical sets, we just get like composited backgrounds.
Yeah, we just get like like poorly rasterized geometric images, or
like
something. It just
terribly
looks-
rendered, like a cutscene, pre-rendered backgrounds where you're like, ooh.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Like if anyone's ever played Final Fantasy VII or any of like the PS1 Final
If
Fantasies,
anyone's ever played a video game,
the most well-known, or
when they thought that they looked good, and then it's like, whoops, no, they don't. It's like this show looks like Ocarina of Time or something.
yeah, kind
You
of,
know?
yeah,
It's like, oh, we finally really think that we've got it,
yes.
and they don't have it.
But like, because specifically with those Final Fantasies, it would be literally static backgrounds, like not 3D backgrounds,
yeah,
and then you are a 3D model walking around it, and like
Oh.
it would scale weird. Like
That's
it,
weird.
you get over it when you're controlling it, but when Dorina is like, I need to walk across this bridge, and it's just her like getting bigger, like they're just pulling the
that
like.
looked so stupid.
That was, and that was the worst effect to me in a pair of episodes that also included a CG track, which I thought looked fantastic, actually.
And my, like you saying that they're writing a video game feels so accurate, because there were multiple moments in the first episode that felt like QuickTime events,
Yes. Yep.
like her walking on the bridge, because first of all, it's totally silent.
Yes.
Like the music doesn't happen until the last like 10 seconds of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's just her silently walking around and like pressing a panel and like what's going on. But I have no stake in it being mysterious, because it looks like Cloud City Bespin or something. It's like not, and there was no like, oh, she was led there or whatever. It didn't make any sense why that mattered, unless I missed something. Like, was that what unleashed the virus on people?
What was the point of her going in? No. The thing she got was the data crystal that Max watched.
Oh,
that was
right.
like the death. We were hit by the death.
Okay.
And then so that's how they learn about it.
But so exactly, that's like the set piece has no reason for existing as it does. It's a arbitrary piece of information that she got because she did that. And there was like tons of, like, we talk about fake dramatic tension around, it's flickering. Is she going to get there before it? Whatever. And then she does. Okay. Cool.
It was like the only Dorina scene also. Or the only like a big one that I remember.
She's there, and then later on, she's affected by the like virus thing that makes people want to kill each other.
Gideon tries to hit her with a Quake rocket launcher.
Yeah, he uses the BFG to blow up the ground. And then at the very end, she goes back and she finds Galen's staff and brings it back to him,
Yes.
which was cute.
Yeah.
I like their relationship, Galen and Darina, because they're both these like outcast people who are just ready to be distant from everybody, but they find themselves liking each other.
Mhm.
I think that if that had more time to develop and be a thing, I think that could have been really cool.
Right. It feels like it's building to them like I think we read somewhere like he was going to pass on powers to her
Yeah.
or something. All of their stuff is like, man, if this was an arc that would go somewhere, that'd be pretty neat, but
Yeah.
it's not. So what we get is instead just her inexplicably following this light bridge that I guess the implication is the Technomage like made it so that she would find it or something.
I don't think there is an implication.
Yeah, it's just like convenience.
I think it's just a thing that they thought would look cool and be dramatic, and it didn't do either of those things.
Because yeah, they're like, she doesn't need security. She's like, I'm fine. There's nothing to worry about. Like they wouldn't even survive up here. I'm on like the 1,000th floor of this building. I'm hanging out and having a good time. I love the sunset. She just like hits a panel and then the light bridge comes out and you're like, that's why I said it felt very video gamey because it's like you found a secret like unlockable passage and then you found like a data crystal on the other side like with an audio log in it. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, it felt like a level that I'd have to repeat a bunch of times because I would die every time I was running across the light bridge.
Right, it's so thin.
Yeah.
And she like sprints across it and I'm like
I watched these episodes with my mom.
Hell
I'm
yes.
home for the holidays. And
I didn't listen to Christmas in Harlem this year. Fun. It's okay.
And my mom in that moment was like, "Is she supposed to be going where she's going?" No,
mother, no,
mom, she's not.
No, none of us are.
She's not.
Something about so the data crystal that she finds, Max watches it. Max is devouring scenery, especially in the early parts of this episode.
I love everything that Max does. There's this great part where they're talking about maybe going to the planet or something, and Max is like, at first I thought it was a legend, like the Flying Dutchman, and then he just keeps talking and does like 3 more lines jammed together.
Yep.
Oh man,
who's that actor? Who is that Pokemon?
I don't know. Yeah, let's see if he's been in any other thing.
David Allen Brooks.
Okay, David Allen Brooks. Have you been in a film
that I can watch, please?
Yeah, I'd like to see you in a film. I was talking to my mom about him, and I'm like, this guy's not good,
but I love him.
And he's like John Travolta in Face Off, and she's like, well, I bet they wanted him to act like that in Face Off, so maybe he's a good actor. I was like, okay.
Your mom just galaxy brained it.
Yeah, and she liked Max as a comic relief character. So I think David Allen Brooks is doing something very specific. It's just so much. It's so much.
Well, it's the acting thing because like Galen, the guy who plays Edward Woodward,
Peter
Woodward. Edward's his dad. Peter Woodward is like a pretty good actor. His performance is ruined by
the role is really weird.
It's the role, and it's the fact that they pretty much dub over all of his lines. Like it never sounds like he's speaking live to Mike, which I think kind of works to make him feel distant, but it's still like it makes the performance feel really off. He could be comic relief, but they kind of want him more in the like almost Kosh like role.
They want both, and it's hard to thread that needle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can't really have both.
Yeah, the show doesn't have anything easy. It can't easily fit in like roles from Babylon 5 in any way. Again, things we said last week, like when they reference Babylon 5 in this show, it feels super weird. Like they talk about the Shadow War in at least one of these episodes. I think it's in the second one because they're talking about how the Technomages all abandoned society after the Shadow War. But the main other thing that happens after she finds it is that they learn that all the people on the planet are dead. A lot of dead planets on Crusade so far. Kind of seems to me like if you're maybe the like stand-up comedian joke would be like, if you're looking for the cure to a virus, why do you keep going to places that were killed by viruses? But maybe if you're like a historian, it's to find out what they did wrong so that you can do it right.
Right.
Because last week we had someone who was like, we died, but we can figure out a cure if you work with us, that kind of thing. So,
and this one culminates in what is her name? Dr. Sarah Chambers.
Yeah.
Getting
My
technology
queen.
from this planet that lets her make a mask where you can wear it and not get infected.
Wasn't that
for
cool?
48 hours. It was sort of cool, but it, again, felt like a video game scene where it's like, hey, here's your gear. This is only going to work for this amount of time, and blah, 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 blah.
Right. And Gideon's like, this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I made it. I'm so proud of you.
The whole scene was so expositional, and it was when there were 2 minutes of the episode left.
The way they've been incorporating technomages, speaking of that mask thing and the virus that killed the people on this planet, it's kind of weird because your like rightful complaint is like, if you want to do magic, and if you want to do technology, do technology. Mm-hmm. But like a virus is one thing, a nanovirus is just the same thing, but you made it tech. Like,
right.
What makes it a nanovirus, right? Is like they did a spell that makes it a virus, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So she finds a bunch of traces of nanovirus in all of the dead bodies. There's that like almost kind of scary scene where everyone's talking about like, oh, we don't know what's killing them, and then you just hear like 6 people in another room scream, and then they're like, oh, they all died immediately, which is like, yeah, scary in theory, but then we go in and it's like, oh, they're all dead. And like, I don't know who those people were. They're just
and there's this
dead crew.
There's this exchange that happens between Sarah Chambers and Galen where she says, every time you show up, people die, and like
You're like a harbinger of death.
I'm trying to vouch for you, and like I know you always show up after they die, but like how many people could you have saved? And I don't know. It just, I don't have a good sense. I guess there's kind of 2 different things I'm thinking about right now, in response to what you said. The first is like, it doesn't really make sense to me how people think of Galen. Just his whole character, it feels like they haven't really picked a lane for him to be in.
Yep.
And then the other thing is, this episode really wanted to be scary, and it was not.
Remember the quote? JMS being like, I want us to be a horror show?
I don't want that. I don't want, if this is what that is,
this ain't it, Chief.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like the CG dragon, in theory, if you really like, if I read that, I don't know, maybe not a dragon. I don't know if I would ever find a dragon.
Didn't seem like it was supposed to be scary.
But it's supposed to be the reason that people are going to be like, we can't be on this planet anymore. We need to evacuate.
Yeah, but I don't think that was supposed to scare us. I think stuff in this episode was supposed to.
Yeah, just people spontaneously dying of like a mystery and like going berserk or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
like,
I think that was supposed to be horror for us, for the viewers.
Yeah, because there's definitely like shots between other plot happening of like Max in like a small room being like, oh god, and like people encroaching on him because he's on the planet with everyone else. Yeah, as the virus is taking over, and he's like freaking out. So like that stuff is very like, you're doing a zombie movie. That's really cute. But, right. Yeah. So there's a lot of bad looking scenes in this, and then basically Gideon gets onto the planet and is working with Galen to like destroy like a big. It's not a city. I think it's just like a big like. Well, so okay. Galen goes first. He's like, this is a technomage thing. I told you guys not to come because you would all die. You all did it. Like he spends the whole beginning of the episode being like, don't go. If you go to Zahadum, you will die. They die. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, all right, well, I got to fix this. He jumps into like a cartoon crater and then finds the technomage. And I kind of liked I liked the vibe of this scene. There isn't much happening when he talks to the other technomage, like the ghost of the mage. But ghost of the mage. Sorry.
I'm just realizing something now that I was confused about when watching, but I think I have clarified for myself.
Okay.
Which is, before he jumps in, he says to Gideon,
yeah,
like, you shouldn't go in. Remember, you got infected too. And at first I thought he was talking about the Drock plague, that Gideon was on Earth when that happened. But
he meant the nanovirus.
Yeah, and I was confused about that.
Yeah, they haven't like referred to anyone being affected by the Drock virus that we know of.
Is Earth quarantined? Like, people can't leave?
I guess.
Earth?
We don't really know, but that's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Like, when she showed him the mask, I was also confused, and I thought she meant that it was a mask. Is she saying it's a mask for the Drock plague?
Yeah.
Okay. I was confused if that was for the nanovirus or the Drock plague also.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So that, because that's why he was like, oh my god, that's a big deal. Like, holy crap. So he goes into the thing, he talks to the technomage ghost, and the ghost is like, the guy who hired me wanted me to do this. He used my powers to do this. Really don't get like a lot of interesting stuff out of this other than like a cool vibe of a dead ghost mage talking to Galen. And yeah, this is like my problem with Crusade right now is like our villain motivations aren't always interesting. Yeah. Like sometimes they are, because it's like, oh, my planet was going to die, and so like I'm sacrificing other worlds for my people. It's just like, okay, that's very classic, but
that
like
was an interesting moral choice. That they kind of handled it in a black and white way, but
yeah,
it was cool. as an idea.
And then like the like villain of the second episode is also really interesting. Of like, you know, we'll talk about that, but
Yeah.
with that whole situation.
But this, it just felt like this guy was evil to be evil.
Or he was working for someone who's evil, who I guess we're supposed to assume is the Drock.
I don't know. I didn't follow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing when I watch shows like this is I do like to follow it. And there's just so little to grasp onto with Crusade, due in part to the fact that like not a lot of people watch the show. It's canceled. It's airing out of order.
Yeah.
There isn't like a lot of wiki stuff for it. So if I'm like, oh, I'm curious, like what exactly happened there? There's no way for me to find out except rewatching the episode. Like that's our only text of like what is going on, and like the scripts of the episodes that didn't air.
Right.
You know, so there is no answer other than like what we think it is.
Yeah, what I'm having a hard time kind of grasping in watching this is just who the characters are and like why they're doing what they're really the answers to the questions. It's kind of ironic that the opening credits are these character questions of who are you, what do you want, and then Matthew Gideon's answers to them are like, I'm Matthew Gideon, I want to get rid of the Drock plague. And it's like, okay, but who are you? What do you want? Like, I need you to answer those questions. And I don't really get Gideon. I think I like Gideon, and I like that he's mysterious, but I want to understand something about him if he's the main dude. And I'm starting to get Galen more. Yeah. I think these 2 episodes really helped me understand who Galen was.
Yes, definitely.
The idea that he's like kind of been cast out of the Technomages is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, I know that Max is like awful, but give me some more. Darina, on the surface, I guess I get who she is because I watched A Call to Arms.
Exactly. That was like her best, all of her character developments in that movie.
But in the show, we've seen pretty much nothing of Darina.
She runs good, and she like jumps through vents a lot.
So I don't know. Like I watched the show, and I'm just like, who do I know, and who do I trust?
Yeah, you're
getting
who do
like I serve. Who do I trust when I watch this show?
You get personality, I think, out of the different like interactions. Like I feel like
I'm getting archetypes.
Yes,
and I think we talked about this too, of it being our joke of them being like an RPG party.
Yes,
like I get the way that the characters fit mechanically together, but that's it, you know?
Yeah, and it's so sad because it's like, give me something to work with, guys. Oh, you won't? Oh, the show ended? Okay, well, what we get, like I said, what we're able to appreciate out of this, I think in the exercise of it, is like, what do these performances say about them? Because instead of getting like, we're not going to get character arcs, we're not going to get resolutions, we're not going to get that many interactions even, we're just getting like moments, individual, isolated, really specific moments that are sold entirely by the quality of like the acting. And that's all we get. You know, we get 13 episodes of that.
And something I was thinking about was there really are the bones of a cool show.
Extremely cool, yes.
And we are just watching like the first half of the first season that sucks.
Right.
And that
if this is a show that if it kept going would be like, oh my god, they did like some really cool like
if this were a 5-season show, people would be like, you don't need to watch, like you can skip most of the first season, but then it gets really good.
Right. They didn't have the outfits figured out, the acting was weird.
Yeah.
They got rid of Max and made him president of space.
Yeah, if this
God, I wish.
Like if this show had been given the time to become what it could have been, I think it could have been really cool in the same way that we love B5 or Farscape or Buffy, where it's like there's some shaky stuff at the beginning, but it gets its sea legs at some point.
Yeah.
And I can see where that would happen. Like the Gideon-Galen relationship is I'm interested. I'm interested in what Gideon's hiding with his box that he talks to, and the box is like, don't trust me. I'm an evil box. Don't trust me.
Don't ever trust me. He doesn't have to trust Galen also.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's like,
But here's something that I thought about. Well, I'm going to save it for the second episode.
Cool. Because I want to talk about the second episode. But yeah, he finds Darina. She like is about to run at him, but she's gonna like throw a rock at Gideon. Galen is like, no, don't let him throw a rock at you. They destroy the underground thing. I guess preventing the nanovirus from spreading any further and like inactivating it in everyone, which is cool. But then Darina, they're like, well, where's she? And She comes back all covered in dust, and she brings back Galen's staff, and he's like, "Thanks, babe." And then Gideon talks to the box. He tells her about the situation. It tells him don't trust Galen. And then one of the dumbest endings, but one of my favorite endings so far. Galen puts his hood on. He's in his rooms on his ship.
No.
And he says, "Music." And then the music starts playing. And you're like, "That's nice." And then it goes to credits, and it's the same music. And you realize that Galen just activated the credits.
No.
This is it, Chief. This is fully it, man. Do you have any stray notes about this one?
Yeah. So I can tell you, here's some of the things that I took notes on about my mom watching.
Please.
When Galen walked in at the beginning, in the slow-mo kind of jump cutty thing that...
What was up with that?
What was up with that?
No clue.
She said, "I like his cloak."
I do too, Mrs. Majon's mom.
It felt like that was supposed to be an intro for Galen, or like this hero shot, like here he is thing.
It's Galen, everyone.
But he was in the other episodes we saw.
And he was in the Call to Arms.
He was in A Call to Arms, and he was in at least one of the first two.
Well, we haven't watched what was aired first.
Right. But also I don't know. That didn't make sense to me.
I agree, it felt like an intro. It definitely felt like that.
Because it doesn't make sense in the JMS continuity. Maybe it does in the continuity, but
like air continuity.
But yeah. I thought he showed up in the JMS episode 1, which aired before this one, just before this one.
We didn't watch that though.
Yeah, we did. We watched broadcast episode 9 first.
Oh, you're saying the one before this one.
And this is broadcast episode 10.
The one that aired before this would have been Racing the Night, so he definitely was in Racing the Night. So then, why?
Why
does this feel like an
shoot it that
introduction?
way?
Nah, that's weird.
Doesn't make sense. She laughed at when Galen is like, "Okay, yeah, if you're gonna go down there, I'm gonna stay back. At least you'll have one surviving pallbearer."
Yeah.
My mom thought that was funny. Yeah, she said Max is comic relief, and those are the things my mom said. We didn't watch it super closely.
God.
She also at one point said that Galen has cool eyes.
Accurate?
In a separate scene from the one where we zoom in on his eyes and he's like scanning the planet. Is that the second one?
No, it's this one. Yeah.
He's like, what a weird
because he like
first
covers
person POV shot looking at John Matheson.
Yeah.
And John's talking, and you just can't hear a thing he's saying because it's like, and then it's this goofy like zoom in, zoom out.
Yep.
Camera thing.
It's really good. Yeah, he like puts his hand over his face, and then Goo Goo Glass comes out because he's like, "John, like, are the probes still on?" He's like, "Yeah, they'll be out for a couple hours before they expire." And he's like, "Cool, zoop." Wow, the planet's really hot. It's dead. Like, thanks, Galen. Really cool.
There's a scene where Galen is talking to Gideon, and he says, when the technomages talk about this place, they say this thing. He says it, some Latin thing. And then
Genius Loci.
Yeah, and then Gideon's like, the spirit of the place. Are you saying it's some kind of ghost? And then he looks back and Galen's gone. Is that who Galen is? That he just disappears? Because they keep talking about him as if he just kind of appears and disappears.
Wait.
But he's always here. He's hanging out.
No, he has his own ship.
I know, but he doesn't like, poof.
I think we don't always see it. I don't think we always see that happen.
I just thought that was...
It is weird. Like, we've never, like, seen him do that magic before. He's walked into rooms before, so now it's like he just decides to poof. I think he's that kind of dramatic kid, though, that who's like, now I will do my exit. Fa-fa!
I think because he gets so many comedic lines, and because we actually see some of his interiority in the second episode, it's hard for me to buy him as the, like, mysterious Kosh guy.
Yes, I agree.
So every time that they do something like that, it just doesn't sit right with me.
The second episode solidified for me that he's not the Kosh. He's more like like the techno mages are more of like a sort of like a stonemason society where it's like we're all secret, we don't talk about it, but we do really cool stuff, and like we don't like this guy because he doesn't follow the ritual rules. Like, he's like a rebel techno mage.
Yeah, I wish that I understood that that's what he was.
Right.
I don't think he was that in A Call to Arms.
Not really. No, not that we knew of.
He was like kind of rebellious against them, but they hadn't kicked him out or anything.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen A Call to Arms also, so I forget. But yeah, the Galen stuff gets great in the second episode.
Max is a horrible sexist, we learn. He says to Darina, "You pretend you can't speak, I'll pretend I can't hear. We'll get along famously." It's really fun how he says the word alien. He says alien.
Alien.
Yeah, I can't do it quite right, but
Alien.
it's pretty good.
We get a Stephen Franklin reference at the beginning.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
That's exciting because the news report, the ISN, still around, the hopefully newly improved ISN, is like, yeah, Stephen Franklin was working on finding the cure.
My contention is that this show does not, there's no reason for this to be in the Babylon 5 universe.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
The part in the second one where they mentioned like the technomages left after the Shadow War is kind of a cool, like that's as good of a like relationship as you're gonna get. It's just like say that and then move on. Or like Stephen Franklin exists and like listeners of the show or viewers of Babylon 5 will be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. But I don't want anything more than that. And then every time they do, even though they do stuff like that, I'm like, that doesn't benefit. It's just like cute.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I was just talking about the silliness. The big machine, he destroys it by throwing his staff at it.
Hell yeah, that's how I destroy things.
And then when the thing blows up, the dude's face is in the mushroom cloud.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I don't think I caught that the first time. I think I rewatched that part. Yeah.
You saw it though.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he was talking about sympathetic magic. How his staff was sympathetic magic with the thing, with the guy's machine.
Yes. Yep.
It's not magic, Galen.
It's technology.
You're not doing magic. Gary Cole really only has two facial expressions. He's great, but he only has two facial expressions.
Which are?
He either has completely dead inside or TPS reports. his kind of like mouth hanging open, like he's like a little It's like kind of a saucy thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's that or complete. Yeah, like
it's so hard to read him in this to the point where I'm like, does he know what his character is? Like, dude, what is your? I'm not.
I think he's doing a really great, subtle job with what he's got. It's just that we're not being told anything about.
Yeah, what is this This is communicating something. I don't understand what it's communicating, but it's definitely like he's deliberately. Especially, there's that moment you like commented on the second one where he like has this like look when he's in the bar talking to Galen, and you're like, oh whoa, he's like acting. Yeah.
I think that's a writing thing and not an acting thing.
Good point.
And yeah, I'm glad to see that we're still doing a million endings. That's always fun.
Yeah, that's what I like about Babylon 5, right? It's just all the endings.
Yeah, but that's what I got for Memory of War.
All I have here is I like it. Well, actually, they mentioned at the beginning on the ISN report that Lady Pope Bernadette II is also looking for like a religious,
which
is
cool.
like,
all right, future space, let's do it.
Screw it. JMS is
Lady
like, it's
Pope.
99, baby. Yeah, Lady Pope. Bernadette II. So there was a Bernadette the First, and she was also Pope.
I gotta put some respect on that one. That's pretty nice.
Galen has a good line. Despite the best advice of people who know what they're talking about, other people still insist on doing the most stupid of things. Which is very like, It's just a very like fun line. And I had one more in here. I don't remember it. Oh, I like the box stuff. I like keep trying to pay attention to that. Like, it's gonna be important. Like, it's not gonna be important, guys.
We also know what it is.
True.
Or we know as much as is known about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. We can have this discussion when we're done with Crusade. Like, would you? Maybe we talked about this in the first one. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself a lot, but like, would you want JMS like in 2020 to be like? Do you want it to film more Crusade? Do you want to just like get more scripts? I feel like scripts would get the job done.
I don't even need scripts. I'd love to just...
Or like an outline of like, here's what the show is going to be.
Yeah, just him run down. He's probably done that at some point.
Yeah,
right?
That might exist somewhere. Because I think he said like he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to like bring back Crusade or finish Crusade, even if he could. It's like,
yeah, why? Why would you?
None of these actors are like of the age to do it anymore, and like you're way past it.
And it wasn't good.
Right, that
like,
too.
Not great.
I really, really think, though, that a show of this setup would be amazing today. I spoke a little bit of mess in a previous Chats episode about The Expanse, because someone was telling me, like, it takes 8 or 9 episodes to get good.
Did you watch those 8 or 9 episodes?
No, but I'm going to. No, I'm, like, gonna very soon.
Okay.
So I'll report back, because when I watch Crusade, I'm like, if they did this today with, like, budget and, like, new actors I haven't heard of and, like, a writer or director that's good, maybe it would be great. And like, I hear The Expanse is that. Like, people are talking about the new season like it's awesome, and I'm like, ugh. And they're not long seasons. They're like 10 episode seasons. I'll report back.
You should watch Dark Matter. That show's fun.
But no one talks about Dark Matter. I need the discourse.
We can talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Come on, chats matter.
We can.
It got
Dark
bad.
chats.
After the
No.
first like 2 seasons. It got bad, or I just haven't caught up to it yet. But
Okay.
the first season's good.
But it's not coming anymore.
Is it done?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Okay. I don't know. I'm asking you.
Okay.
Well, okay. The Expanse is good because it's an Amazon original, so it's like pretty,
okay.
and the seasons are short, which is my other favorite thing.
Okay.
But I have 1,000 other shows.
Well, if people
like,
have
look
seen
at
this-
that! I'm showing Magellan the IMDb page for The Expanse. Tell me that
Yeah.
doesn't look like a dumb,
Yeah,
fun sci-fi
that
show.
looks pretty fun.
And like, not everyone's white. Like all this dumb stuff that I'm like, man, I wish the show would do this. They do that.
Okay.
Someone tell me what The Expanse is about,
It
because
looks
I'm not
going
gonna read
The
about
font
it.
looks a little Star Trek-y. That's my reservation.
A police detective in the asteroid belt, the first
Nope,
officer. Nope.
I'm out.
Oh, police detective. I'm out. Bye.
I'm out. I'm not
Never
looking
mind.
for space cops. I'm looking for space criminals.
Yes, dude. Give me this one. Give me one of
Give
these.
me this one.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's read some emails.
Okay.
Emails. It's time for emails. These are emails from the listeners. Wow, we have several emails.
Okay.
Wait, why do we have? Is this like? Do we not read any of these? Oh, we haven't like recorded a chats episode in like a decade, man.
Yeah.
Get it? Did you get it? Because it's been like
Yeah.
whoa, dust and like worms came out of Magellan's mouth when he laughed there.
I'm of two minds about whether or not we're in a new decade,
Okay, tell me about it.
because we do talk about the 20s
Yep,
as like when people say the 1920s,
they mean
they
1920
understand
to 1930.
that they mean
29.
20 to 29. Yeah.
Okay,
But there's no year zero, you guys. It's not a year. We index our years at 1. So 10,
2010
the
to
first
2020.
10 years were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So inherently, if you're saying that we're in the 20s now, the 2020s,
mm-hmm.
then what you're saying is that there exists a decade of only 9 years.
That's so.
And you have to live with that.
That's such a formalist argument, though. We just lived through a decade. This is what chats people listen to for, right? 2010. I'm holding up fingers right now, folks. 2010,
Sure,
2011,
I know how to
2013,
count to
14, 15,
10.
16, 17, 18, 19. That's 10 years.
Yeah, but then you could make the argument for that at any time.
And people do.
So you're saying when it became 2019, people were like, "It's a new decade." That last
No,
decade started.
I'm
in
saying
2009.
it ended on it started on a 0. That's why it starts. On a 0 year.
Yeah. And I'm saying that years, all in total, don't start at 0.
True.
They're indexed
Start
at
at 1.
Yeah.
Well, if you believe
But
in
as
the
a
Gregorian calendar.
historian, when I'm a historian and we talk about the 1920s, we talk about 20 to 29.
You got to teach me about some calendars that are not Gregorian. Do you know about any?
I don't know about anything.
Damn.
I know.
I'm the one who follows the other Easter calendar, so I should know about these things.
Yeah, you should teach me about calendars.
I will.
All right, let's read some emails.
Okay, great.
Welcome to the new decade.
Ryan says, in your commentary on A Call to Arms, hey, remember that? Wow, is this email from December 15th? Oh my god, that's so long ago. Did we not read this?
No.
No, we definitely didn't. Hey, Ryan. He says, in your commentary on A Call to Arms, I couldn't agree with Magellan more. Man,
Thank you.
delete
Yes.
emails.
Start every email with that.
Report spam. Unsubscribe. He couldn't agree with someone more about the Drock and how unrealistic for them it was.
Thank you. Yes, thank
that
you.
they would attack so openly. This is often my issue that I find with the movies, that the characters and races often don't line up with how they are in the show, and this is probably the most obvious example of that issue. From a writing perspective, I understand why they're used as the big bad guys for the film, because who else is there left in the universe capable of doing such acts? You don't want to just introduce a new race out of nowhere, so it falls onto the Drock, but it does undermine them, and for me, also Crusade for the show hinges on this plague created by the Drock.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to ask you guys what you think about the Drock makeup and overall design. I remember you didn't care for their look the first time when it was just their armor. I, Ryan, personally love the makeup for them, and just from it alone, I completely buy that they are this old, bitter race that reminds you of a lizard that one would find underneath a log, and that lizard would scare you so much that you put the log back down. That feeling when you're hitting the word count on an essay. I love it. I truly love it. Thank you, Ryan. I think the Drock are cool, especially in like season 5 when it's like you don't see them a lot. Like if I see them a lot, then I'm like, ooh, that's like Rocky people makeup never looks cool.
Except for Ben Grimm the Thing.
Does that look cool?
No.
Just, sir?
The Drock guy who talked to Londo, who was played by Jack the Ripper guy,
Yep.
looked really cool.
Good memory
Thank you very much.
of War. He did look very cool, but that's because he was in shadow.
Yeah.
It's one of those types of
But he
like
looks scary. He looks scary and cool.
Yep, the dark eyes make sense. It kind of like suggests that they come from underground. Like it works. It really works. I think there's a conversation to be had about the alien design on B5 and like what it says about each of the races.
It really sells, just to go back to the first point that Ryan agreed on with me, it really sells out the whole Londo arc, that he is kind of masterfully manipulated by invisible forces into being this terrible dude for the rest of his life. And that's like hugely tragic. And then the movie's like, but also they do big war and big fights out in the open. And then you're like, well, why did they have to ruin Londo then?
Why are you doing it to my sweet boy?
It doesn't line up.
Most owned man in space, that's why.
Just let him be owned by like a great owning race. I'm going to read our next email.
Please
This one
do.
comes from Pat. Call to arms /awesome music /crusade. Hey guys.
Hi.
I mentioned before that what I like about Call to Arms is Tony Todd and the music. I'm glad you like Tony, but disappointed you didn't appreciate the music. That being said, it's definitely the music resulting from be more sexy, edgy towards a casual TNT viewing crowd, instead of amongst dreams that B5 had on PTEN.
Yes.
It fits very well in Crusade's tone of so bad it's good if you're a sadist.
Which we are.
From Pat. P.S. Holy hell, Ryan's drink whenever Crusade is horny game is wrecking me. I don't think it's been super horny yet.
I mean, the stuff like the porn thing in last week was like a lot, but when he's like watching Max's like secret porn, that's like quintessential what that drinking game is about.
Oh yeah.
So he's probably talking about that. Yeah. But yeah, these two episodes were like relatively chaste, except for the daughter. But we'll talk about that. What? Our last two emails are from Nick, the other brother. Listening. Oh, this one's about commentary chats, guys. This is not for you folks on chats. But we do want to read that at some point. So this is our last email from Nick. This one is called Why Crusade Got Canceled.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Informative.
JMS has clarified why the show was canceled in a few places, but I just wanted to give you the summary. This is perfect, Nick. Thank you. TNT brought Babylon 5 along for Season 5 and the made-for-TV movies. Things were happy. They asked for a spin-off series. Crusaders greenlit. Is their timeline. An issue was that TNT had two very different audiences. Those that watched B5 and those that watched wrestling. Which really makes me think that, like, what if Crusade was leaning into the wrestling? Like, how does Crusade lean into, like, the wrestling watching audience? But that's a conversation. One tuned in while the other tuned out and vice versa. They saw this as a problem, obviously. They were committed to Crusade, but were already thinking of ways to get out of it so they could use the remaining budget for something trashy. This is where it gets interesting. Basically, TNT did all they could via impossible and conflicting notes to JMS, including but not limited to, get this, a suggestion of Gideon setting up a crew member to be sexually assaulted as a blackmail plot. Where he was constantly forced to either not listen or not meet production deadlines. So, like, do this dumb plot or you're not going to get the episode out in time. Too tough. Weird how that didn't work out for you. A final meeting was called where they made their final demands, and JMS stood his ground at what seemed like madness, and the show was canceled. There was an attempt to sell the show to Sci-Fi Network, but they only wanted the show if they could secure the rights to reruns of Babylon 5, which would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But, of course, TNT jacked up the price for the reruns, knowing they couldn't accept that to make sure no one else could succeed with Crusade and make them look bad.
Oh my god.
So this show is basically stratosphered into the sun. Like,
oh my god, that is pathological. That is nuts.
Doomed to fail. Truly doomed to fail. And even sadder, only later did JMS even find out that he was set up to fail. But either way, he still felt bad as the close group of people who worked on B5 and Crusade, this is the saddest part, were all out of jobs, including the special effects studio that they built during Season 3 and 4 of B5. So no more homunculus. This CG team does not exist anymore.
Oh my god.
That's so twisted.
Oh, that's awful.
That's everything. That's worker abuse. That's like writer abuse. That's everything.
Yikes.
You know? The 90s were a crazy time and stuff still like that. I think still happens. It's kind of a different landscape. But
certainly, I bet it does.
I would imagine that some of this like network meddling stuff is part of why creators were so willing to like jump to like streaming platforms, because they're like, oh, they're just gonna like let me make my show and like make it as long as I want and release it however I want, like that kind of thing. He says, finally, I think even if JMS had the... This is where I was referencing to you earlier. Even if JMS had the rights to finish Crusade in some form, he still would not. When asked about it, he said it was, quote, and this is paraphrasing, like being asked about his child that died very young, what they would be doing today if they lived. Right? But I still wish they gave us an outline for the seasons if you won't make a canonical novel.
Yeah.
That's from Nick. That's really, really sad.
That sucks.
Because you're watching a show that's like, yep, we already know we're done. We were like, they never had a chance.
There really is cool stuff in here that could have been a good show.
100%.
It's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wrote for a 5-year plan and you got less than one. You got half a season.
That sucks.
Well, that's half an episode. But we'll keep that in mind as we take a brief musical break and come back to discuss the second episode that we watched this week, which was The Long Road.
Welcome back to Chats, a television podcast, season 6.5. Chatzylon 5 presents Crusade Chats.
I like that energy.
I'm Magellan and Alan's still here.
Somehow.
The second episode we watched this week was JMS episode 4, broadcast episode 2 of Crusade, The Long Road. It was written by J. Macy, directed by Mike Ave. It aired June 16th, 1999. And it takes place from February 27th to March 2nd of 2267. Alan, what happened in The Long Road?
Oh, gosh. Oh, no. Well, what happened in The Long Road is that in this episode, Galen reunites with an old friend when the Excalibur comes to the aid of an Earth Force ship, an Earth Force strip mining operation on the isolated agrarian world of Regula 4. Great name for a planet. Earth's efforts to obtain a mineral that may help in the search for a cure.
I've never looked in my eyes before.
Until saying that. Cure the plague are hampered by a mysterious saboteur and the appearance of a gigantic golden dragon. ... So this episode does the opposite. First of all, what did you think of it? Tell me your thought. We've watched it before in the previous part. We liked it.
I think it's the best Crusade episode so far.
Right? I agree. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Big Farscape energy.
Yeah, huge Farscape energy.
Huge. It's got that like off-planet, like why are these people like very specific? Like these people live this life and that's their whole story.
Yeah,
we're gonna go there, interfere, and then fix things or break things in a different way and then leave. It's totally that.
What it made me realize is the thing that makes sci-fi shows like. Or the thing I don't like about sci-fi shows, well, what am I trying to say? The thing that makes sci-fi shows very hit or miss is when every episode they're like, okay, and now this week the planet is like
the lady, the sexy lady planet, or the plague planet.
Oh, they're working here on this planet, and they just try to do like a bit with every planet.
Right.
I mean, this one it still was not so bad. I think it was elevated largely by. What is the Technomage's name that Galen's buddy?
Alwyn.
Alwyn, I think was fantastic and elevated the episode. And his relationship with Galen gave us a lot about Galen. He was a really compelling character who had very clear morals and very clear set of actions that he thought were appropriate and not appropriate, a very clear goal. He was cool. He was a great character. He was really well performed.
Edward Woodward, father of Peter Woodward. Which, in the back of my mind, I was telling you this, it would be so dumb if they made Alwyn Galen's dad. It would be such an easy, like, plot reveal. And what's cool is, like, they never say that. They do talk about, like, my father abandoned me, or Galen says that, and Alwyn is like, yep, and I like took care of you for a while, and then I've been around doing my own thing. You're like, are you his father in the show? it doesn't seem important.
I don't think it matters if he is or not.
I think they still have a familial relationship.
Yeah.
Because what relates them is not necessarily blood, but the fact that they don't agree with everything the technomages are doing.
Yep.
The technomages, as Gideon likes to say. And so I think, yeah, that like emotional core makes this episode. Because you have the beginning of it, which is perfectly dumb. The cold open where there's these people on a tiny little ship being like, oh no, we're under attack. And then the guy's like, where are they? Where are they? And he like flips open some blinds and it's just like a fire. And he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
And they're getting attacked. And then there's people on the planet being like, oh no, what's going on? What could it be? And then they go and it's awesome. Like Star Fox for one on the SNES boss.
Yeah.
Looks like Andros. It's a giant gold dragon. I recorded for you my reaction to this part. I like gasped and then like immediately started like choking up laughing because I was like, what are you doing? Crusade, no. Because really, I think Crusade sometimes would work better as like a book. Like it reads like it's fiction sometimes.
Yeah, we made it up.
Exactly. And like if you wrote like, and there was an indescribable gigantic like dragon figure with like big claws and it like had, you know, sort of like a false look to it, like explain that it's like supposed to look holographic or as looking like a hologram, that's like cool enough. And Alan is the kind of guy who's gonna like throw a dragon at you he's making technologically like backwards people afraid and wanting to leave, so that's why it's a dragon.
That's not what he's doing.
Well, what's he trying to do with the dragon?
He's trying to scare away the
the miners,
people who are mining. Yeah, he's protecting the people.
I thought he was trying to get the people to leave so that before their planet was destroyed, they would leave.
No,
I don't think the miners to leave.
He's trying to get the miners to leave.
That makes less sense, actually. It's just making a dragon because it's sick.
Yeah, because it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. Dragons are scary.
I think he was part of the reason that those people don't have a lot of technology, is he encouraged them not to have it. Which doesn't make sense because he's a techno-mage.
Techno-mage.
The thing that... So you're saying the show should be like a book. The thing that I was thinking about is Crusade doesn't need to be a sci-fi show.
You think a fantasy would work fine?
It'd be fine.
Yeah.
Like our kingdom was infected by a horrible sickness and we're looking for the cure. I mean, that's what it's doing, is it's like, hey, it's a fantasy show, but it's sci-fi. But like but it's sci-fi part is not necessary.
Interesting.
I mean, it exists that way because it's a B5 spinoff, and it was originally commissioned as a B5 spinoff. So we can't really, undo the sci-fi-ness of it. But it's like it being science fiction, I feel like doesn't add anything to it for me.
At least in this episode.
Yeah.
Because I think, that there's like plot lines that are suggesting like large passage of time, how society changes, how people advance, and like what become their priorities as they change. Like that stuff is inherently sci-fi. But like when we say like this episode feels really farscapey, you get back to that question of like, are science fiction and fantasy even that like fundamentally different? Because they're kind of doing different things in the same way. That's true. Or doing the same thing in different ways, I mean. Yeah, I think you could argue that about a lot of stuff, but I would be totally fine with like a hard fantasy like a version of Crusade.
Yeah, I think it has all of the parts of it that are intriguing to me feel like hard fantasy.
Exactly.
More so than sci-fi.
Was it this episode where we played basketball? I believe it was.
Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah, they're shooting hoops at the very beginning.
That's fun.
That hoop is defective, man.
Gideon is me every time I try to play basketball. I used to be
see more Lieutenant John Matheson.
Yeah, he's great. We're not gonna get him though.
Come on,
there's no way.
He's so good.
Yeah, I worry that if we get too much of him, we're gonna learn he's not good. That's what I worry about. But like that actor is good. Daniel Day Kim's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
So give me him and like Lockley just hanging out.
Yeah, what's up with that? Sure, why not?
Season 3. It comes in Season 3. We get that.
Oh.
Man, we would get so much more Matheson telepath stuff. We get more Dr. Chambers than we get Matheson. We're criminally underused. But such as it goes with a very, very canceled show. We found out that the society is all agrarian, like you said, because Valen? No. Alwyn.
Valen's the other guy.
The other dude. Who's like two dudes. Alwyn
Did
is...
JMS know that he rhymed Galen with Valen? Did he know that he did that?
Ooh.
And then he was like, shit.
Damn it.
All my names rhyme.
That was very apparent to me when he was like, "Oh, Galen is talking to Alwyn about Elric." Yeah, I'm like, every Technomage name is dumb.
Yeah.
And also Gideon is there. Like, Gideon is such a good name for a captain.
That is a good name, yeah.
I love it.
Gideon. Captain Gideon.
Captain Matthew Gideon.
Matthew Gideon.
He's shooting hoops. We see a dragon. The society's agrarian. I love this whole. I'm a sucker for like, we're like, oh, the society's actually doing fine because they don't ask for a lot and they decline like technological and corporate interference. Like that makes them do that. Now they're just fine. They're happy, except for the part where they're being milked dry by corporations.
Right. They can't defend themselves against corporations. Yeah.
None of us can.
That's true.
So the corporations are Earth Force. It seems like running a mining operation because they found something in the water on the planet that is involved in like making a drop plague.
I'm already bored.
Yeah, I'm like,
It doesn't matter.
But what I do like, what's like the crunchy fun stuff is like we go to a bar.
Yep.
Because Galen is like, I know what's up with this planet. He says, what color was the dragon? It was gold. He's like, oh, nice, cool. So we're gonna go to the planet, just you and me. Someone get Gideon an outfit, which really just means give Gary Cole a cowboy outfit, so he looks like a fun cowboy.
That kind of bugged me because there was the bit of them saying that planet's practically medieval, and Galen's like, that sounds cool to me. And there's a dragon, but then we get down there, and Gideon's in a western, and the guy with the mustache has a Minnesota accent. It's like, I can't figure out what pastiche they're going for, because if you're gonna do like medieval society, but then it
do
like
that
a western, I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess it doesn't have to be that cut and dry, but his duster and cowboy hat seemed a little
and
the wrong.
What's funny to me though is that maybe that's Galen like intentionally making him look out of place though. I mean, it is like a Western society, so like he kind of fits, but he's just like, oh, dress funny and here give him their currency. And so he's like, go get him, you have to go buy a drink and wait for something to happen. Which I love that he's just like, when does something happen? He's like, it does. It always does. It's a TV show. Plot literally just happens.
We'll
we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
He tries to buy a drink, and he's like asking the guy what he's got. We got loonies, we got toonies, we got baboobies, and we got schmagoogles. He's like, nice, I'll have 2 toonies. How many can I get for this? And he's like, you can buy the whole bar.
It's a lot of money.
You got big bucks, actually. Which is, of course, suspicious. So as soon as they sit down, some scary cowboy men come in the door, saloon doors, and they're like, hey, we don't like your kind here. Presumably, they're like, they know they're outsiders. They're like, nobody brings money like that. And then another person comes in. It's Alan, who hates doors. Alan refuses to like open doors, so he always has to whoosh them open with a big wind. And he's like, get away. And they're like, oh, man, Alan, I'm sorry. He introduces himself. He's a technomage. His name's Alan. He's a crusty old man. He has the same powers that Galen does. And he's been kind of helping the people as like a guide and a mentor without giving them technology to like sort of help them advance and be happy. We get a lot of him just like talking to Galen about technomage stuff, why you left, all that stuff. It's actually really good dialogue, but you know, it's not really like plot relevant. It's more just like characterful, which you want. And then he tells him about the resource problem, and he's like, I'm getting older. Galen, if you can help me, maybe you could eventually take over for this planet. Galen's like, I don't want to stay somewhere. That was why I thought it was like a parent thing, where it's like, when are you going to stay somewhere? And it kind of feels like a father telling his son that. Yeah. Because he also has a line about like, all a father wants is for their son to surpass them. Isn't that what all fathers want? Right, Galen? Wouldn't that be cool if you surpassed, I don't know, me, for example? It just feels so obvious.
I don't. I guess it doesn't matter either way.
It does. It really doesn't.
Like he's obviously very parental to him because he was an older member of the same order as Galen.
Yes.
And those lines to me felt more meaningful in terms of like they're really father and son acting the scene together.
Yes.
Which gives it something.
Little something.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of the Earth Force guys who are just deliciously shitty. Especially the main one who's like, well, the resources, like Earth matters first. So we'll drain them as much as we need to. And he's got his shitty like lieutenant. And I was watching the episode before you came over, and then I paused it right when he's like, "You, Lieutenant, are going on the planet." And he's like, "Why?" And he's like, "I need my brain on there, and I can't go there. So you're as smart as me, so you're gonna do great." And he's like, And I had to pause on him being like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, that guy's gonna die.
Yeah, I really like the scene where they're flying into the dragon. He says,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's not real.
It's not real.
Just go." And then they make it through, and he says, "Yeah,
I wasn't scared.
It was a hologram the whole time." And then the follow-up scene
They're back in the saloon.
was actually pretty funny. They're back in the saloon, and there's like little hollow demons, is what they're called, whatever.
Halloween demons, basically.
Yep. And the guy says, "These are holograms too," and then one of them solidifies and like whacks him in the face.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
That's the joke.
It was funny, but then they did a whole 2-minute dialogue thing between Galen and Alwyn of, "Oh, I see you the programming," and come on.
Just stop. Just let that be the. You could make that gag as simple as like, guys, it's fake. Punch. Done. That's the gag. I get it. You set it up and you paid it off.
Yeah.
But instead they have to do the whole thing.
I appreciate that the most absurd technomage thing was fake in this episode.
Yeah, the dragon. Right.
No, not the dragon. The
which thing?
So the people that Alan's trying to protect, they try to take an Earth Force people captive hostage.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets mad and he says, "I got to do this my way." And he sets up this plan. With Gideon, where he's gonna fake out. And as viewers, we don't understand the whole thing at first.
Yeah.
But he's gonna fake out the Earth Force people by pretending to use the mine as he would use a satellite dish to shoot down their ship with a big beam.
Very technomage.
And Gideon's like, "Look, he's doing it.
Oh my
Get
God.
shot." And so they say, "Shoot him, kill him, destroy him," and then they destroy the mine in the process, and that's the bait and switch scheme of it. But I appreciated that the show, the most absurd moment of technomage technobabble was like,
it's fiction.
It's fiction. Gary Cole was, or not Gary Cole, but Matthew Gideon was making it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that moment kind of works. I know effects wise, this episode really struggles with all the technomage stuff, but like that part works. He's like doing, and it's him doing like fake stuff,
Yeah.
voodoo, not voodoo, but like just nonsense magic. What do they call it? Empathetic nice magic. What did you say it was on the previous episode?
Sympathetic magic.
Hell yeah. And so they blow up the mine, which means that the people can live. I guess the people can just like live on their own now because there's no reason
now they can't mine the resources anymore.
But we just lost the cure. Here's my thing. If you want to be nitpicky for a second, they did mine a lot out of that place, so they have cure now.
Is that what it was? That it was meant to help cure the Drakh plague?
I think they said that the water, whatever was in the water, like the like rock or something, is killing the people because they're overdosing on it. But a small dose of it would cure you of the Drakh plague. That's how I understood it. Or they thought that it had curative properties. But my thought is then like you guys definitely have some of it. I'm always like I know that's one of those things where I'm like it doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna like nitpick, be like, why didn't I know this show can't be nitpicked? It doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they definitely had some of it. I
didn't fully understand it. I understand the cure connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just know that the bartender has a daughter who, just so that we have an emotional attachment to the people on the planet, is like, oh no, my daughter is getting sick and she's like barfing everywhere and she passes out, and then Alwyn is like, yeah, she's like they've been ingesting too much of it at one time to be able to survive, so they're all gonna die unless we like make them never have it anymore. That's why he blows it all up.
I see.
So they all survive, and then Gideon has to have that moment of like, oh man, shit, that's another chance at the plague. Is this show just gonna be him being like, plague? Aw, damn.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of clunky. Yeah. But I think we're gonna get cut off before a show of that structure hits its stride.
Yeah.
And would hit the like episode 14, 15, 16 3-parter.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, now the rest of the season plot has been introduced.
Exactly. We have a villain now. We have like all this stuff.
Yeah, we have an actual single thing that we're working towards, that kind of thing.
Oh, what's this? You can't. Oh, yeah, stray notes. We don't really have anything else to say about the episode.
Yeah. Alwyn has a lot of cool lines. So I just thought of one. Oh, his whole ending conversation with Galen is cool, where he's talking about how the mustache guy said, oh, we don't need to be reasonable. We have you. And he's like, as soon as I heard them say that, I knew that I'd overstayed my welcome.
Yep. You see it in that moment. If you watch that part back,
Yeah.
you can see him be like,
"Ooh, yikes!" By the way, the part where he says, where he's talking to the people and he says, "I'm going to do things my way" or whatever, and that mustache guy goes, "Owen,
Owen.
Owen."
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's talking to Galen at the end, and Galen's like, "I don't have a home," and he says, "You can't fool me, Galen. You are home. You just don't realize it yet." Which is cool. Like, now I understand Galen. I think Galen is the only character that I understand.
Yep. He refuses to be grounded anywhere. No roots.
Yeah, but his fam is the crew.
He is
the
at home.
Excalibur fam.
Home is where the Gideon is.
Yeah, that's his best bud.
They should kiss. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. And then we get some fun end of episode music, and we're back into space.
Yeah. My mom agreed that the mustache guy's accent is wrong for space. That's what she said.
The only accents you're allowed to do in space are completely non-accented American English.
Or like ferociously British.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly right.
unbearably British.
There is no middle ground. I heard somebody recently, it always bothers me when people say that English accents are not accents. They're like, oh, you just sound American. That's not an accent. I'm like, no, you don't. Language is interesting because everyone's accent is some accent. There is no Greenwich Mean Time of accents.
Right. Even that's a time zone.
True.
Even if it's Greenwich Mean Time, it's still
It's
a time zone.
It's the closest thing they have to a zero, but it doesn't. It's technically a -12 somewhere, right?
My mom said when she saw Gary Cole, she said, he looks familiar, and then he turned around in the shot, and she was like, oh, he is familiar.
Yes, he is.
I have seen him before.
That's the exactly right response to Gary Cole.
It was...
Cole.
I forgave the dragon because Alwyn was like, nobody does dragons anymore, huh? I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
dragons
a
are
throwback.
sick.
Throwback.
Yeah, within the episode he's saying, like within the universe, it's a throwback. Exactly.
Yeah. The fact that he did it made it cool.
Mm-hmm,
And I like that he's calling the Technomages a bunch of like cowards and losers and all that stuff. It gave us some dimension on who they are.
They're a bunch of foofy, like, aloof people.
His character made me not hate Technomages.
We did it
for now, but next time I'll hate them. Don't worry. This is the first instance of us watching where I felt that the JMS order made sense. Like, I didn't really see the need for us to be doing JMS order before this point. Like, episode 9 felt, the one that we watched first, felt very expositional and like it needed to be first.
Agreed.
At least parts of it. But here, I really felt like this episode followed from the previous one in terms of Galen's character arc, because we see kind of his doubts and his wanting to be with the crew and feeling at home with them, but still feeling distant from them. Yeah. And that episode ends with them being like, he's just lonely, huh?
Right.
He's really lonely. He's always just on his ship, not hanging out.
He's a harbinger of death or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well.
And then this kind of resolves that in a way. That was cool.
Every once in a while, you see the skeleton of like a show that was planned out.
Yeah, right.
I did actually catch very briefly. I was like, oh, yeah, the outfits are wrong. Okay. And I was like, that was the thing that was told, like, the whole reason that the network changed it was so we got the good outfits first. And I'm like, I didn't even notice. They're not even, like, in the outfits that much because they're off-planet a lot. And they're not
these the good ones or the bad ones?
These are the good ones. The black ones are good ones, quote-unquote. The, like, gray, like...
because this was Air Order Episode 2.
Yes. But the gray and red, like more, rigid uniforms are the quote-unquote bad ones.
They both look fine.
They both look fine.
Yeah, I don't care.
Nope.
Yeah.
I do care about uniforms in sci-fi shows, like, conceptually. We just talked about the Star Trek TOS, which is, like, the best uniforms in a sci-fi show, bar none. But I love the coloring, okay? I'm simple. I'm a simple gal. But, yeah, the Crusade outfits are fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
What do you got, Josh?
Oh, another couple great Alwyn lines. The truth is I'm more of an annoyance than a terrorist.
Same.
And then he says if they come with guns, they will leave in boxes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very spooky.
Yeah, it was good. And then this was kind of a sobering moment when they send the lieutenant, the Earth Force guys send the lieutenant. His higher up guy says promotion only comes from combat experience.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like, go. And it's like, whoa.
Earth Force is still really weird.
I've never thought about how military people have a personal investment in like going and fighting and killing people, because that's where like doing that successfully is where advancement comes from.
I would hope it doesn't always work like that. IRL.
But what else would you use as a metric?
There has to be stuff we don't know about the military.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But that thinking about that was very sobering.
Yes.
thought.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Delicious.
I like this one. This was, I think, my favorite Crusade one. So
Yeah, if we get more that are just like these weird, here's a weird planet with a weird thing that we figure out, we learn about our characters. That's it. That's all you have to do to make Crusade
I
good.
just want genuine character work. Can we please? We got really good Galen stuff this episode. These
Mhm.
2 episodes, I think I understood Galen a lot better.
I think piloting a lot of shows now for pilot chats has made me think about like how shows like offer up their best self right away. Like, look, here's the characters doing the things, and the
Mhm.
show just like has not had a chance to do that, and how important pilots really are.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like you really do need an episode that tells me who everyone is. Just one. Just give me like a couple scenes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know?
The fact that there's not a definitive, like, this is the first episode. Yeah, so you're floating. You
Because we're eventually going to watch what was aired first, which was Warzone, and I guess it'll be like, I guess this is a pilot, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okey-dokey.
and then the fact that we only saw the 2 characters that we saw in the Call to Arms are like the 2 characters who are floating in and out.
Exactly.
Of it. Yeah.
Exactamundo.
Well, do you want to know what we're watching for next time?
I do.
Okay. Do you have your DVD box around? Oh, here it is.
Oh, there it is. It's right behind you.
Could you consult the spreadsheet, and I will read the episode summaries to you?
Certainly. Next week on Crusade Chats, we are watching JMS Order 5, JMS Episode 5, Visitors from Down the Street.
Okay. And if you are following along in either DVDs or release order, that's episode 12 on disc 3. And Visitors Down the Street, the summary is as follows. Visitors from Down the Street. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Events take a lighthearted turn in this the X-Files parody.
Yeah, that's all it says?
No.
Oh.
Excalibur takes aboard paranoid aliens convinced that humans interfered with their planet for decades and that their government conspired to hide the facts. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
I love it. We've never...
Oh my gosh, that's a thumbnail from it. They're literally aliens dressed like the X-Files characters.
Oh! I'm going to have fun.
That's really something else.
I've never watched the X-Files before.
That's really something else.
Don't hate me, guys. I'm sorry. Actually, I watched like minutes of it.
I haven't watched it either.
Okay. Well,
we'll chat it. Never.
yeah.
Because it's too long.
It's way too long.
Yeah.
And like most of it I've heard is bad.
And then the second episode we're watching is The Well of Forever, which is Error Order episode 3.
JMS Order episode 6.
Yep, from disc 1. Disc 1 is where we begun. It's all the greatest hits. And if you are a fan, then you know that you already got them. It's the song Box Set.
By Bare Naked Ladies.
Bare Naked Ladies.
I could tell it was BNL without even knowing.
It's by Stephen Page. The Well of Forever. Oh my god.
Hey!
Galen, a technomage who uses advanced technology in magical ways, may be going too far. Dorina Nafeel questions the technomage's motives when he spearheads a risky expedition to a hyperspace realm.
Yes, dude. Galen? Dorina?
Yeah.
Realms?
Yeah.
Spice? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't read any more summaries. John's canceled everyone. He's reading all the summaries. He's spoiling everything for himself. I can't stop him.
The summary for Warzone talks about Gideon assembling a crew.
Yeah, it's a pilot.
Yeah, I really would have liked to watch that first, JMS. What's your deal?
Joe?
Okay.
Well. Let's go to Plug Zone. If you would like to email us questions, comments, concerns, recipes, pictures of your dog, pictures of your cat, pictures of my wife, please do so by sending us to chatspot@gmail.com. You can also tweet at us. Tweet at Chatspot on Twitter. CHATZPOD. We have wonderful Twitter interactions that have been really great. So you should follow us there. Please rate us on iTunes or your podcast platform of choice. You already know the deal. And if you'd like to support us, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/chatspod. That's patreon.com/CHATZPOD. And we have all these different tiers. At just $5 a month, you get all of our different tiered content, which includes a bi-weekly show called Pilot Chats, another bi-weekly show called Chats Nights, and a monthly podcast called Commentary Chats, where we watch films. Those are really fun. You should check those out. We do put a lot of work into the Patreon, and we're hoping to do more fun stuff there. We are currently done with the 12 Days of Chatsmas as of this release. Yeah, so Chats patrons have had a special treat, the 12 Days of Christmas, where we put out little like audio treats every day. Stuff like old podcast pilots. Magellan did the fabled Babylon number 5 song. Are you okay with me mentioning that?
Yeah. That's people should go. Any patron has access to those, $1 and up. So
yes,
I did a parody of Mambo number 5, but it's Babylon number 5.
It's unbelievably good. No, it's believably good because you're like good, but it's really good.
And we talk a lot about having watched Buffy and Angel and stuff, and there are episodes on there where we like summarized all of our thoughts on Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Yeah,
from like the time that we watched them.
We actually watched them.
Yeah, so get some Chats backfill
yeah,
lore.
There's lots of stuff in there.
Yeah. Is there anything else in the plugs, Magellan?
I think that's it.
Oh, we have a subreddit, reddit.com/r/chatspod. We don't run that. We have our listeners run that, but it's a lot of fun. We do like pop in there to chat, and we're re-listening to old Chats episodes.
Yeah, they're rewatching Farscape.
Hell yeah!
So that's a wonderful show that you should rewatch with us from the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back when the audio was bad. John, what's your chat number this week? What's your little treat?
I'm gonna chat some another board game this week. I do love to chat some board games. I am going to chat some a game called The Networks.
Ooh.
We played a little bit of it, but it was kind of late at night, so we didn't get to do a full game. But I last night played a full game, me and my mom, and the way The Networks works is you're essentially running a TV network, and you are putting shows on the air, you're getting actors on the shows, you're putting ads on the shows. It's kind of like a set collection management game. So you have to pick like the shows that kind of gel the best with what resources are available and stuff. And all of the cards are like jokes or riffs on shows that you've heard before or actors that you know of. So it's like the art is really cool and cute, and it's a funny game. And then at the end of the day, it's just like the kind of strategizing that is engaging but not oppressive.
Yes.
Because you do have a limited range of what actions you can take.
Right.
But within that, there are like ways that you can strategize what makes the most sense, and the game is fun and amusing along the way. And last night when you were talking about TNT, I was thinking about how the part of the game is you get like bonuses if you get multiple shows of the same genre. So I was trying to be the network that like only did sci-fi shows.
Right.
But then I got myself in a hole and was losing a lot of money, and my shows didn't have any viewers anymore. And then there was something on there that was like, a 10 p.m. wrestling show.
Oh, shit.
I guess I'm going to cancel this sci-fi show that's been on for 3 years.
Aww.
Wrestling.
You were that person!
And then I canceled another sci-fi show to put on another sports show. And
yeah.
I became everything that I've hated.
That's exactly the thing I really liked about the little bit of networks that I got to play.
Yeah.
Is it really accurately simulates that, like the way that Monopoly was designed to simulate like capitalist like property buyers. It simulates feeling like, oh yeah, no, shows don't matter to me. I'm just looking for profit. Like I'm looking to nail.
It very easily puts you in that headspace.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
It's very cool. The Networks is called?
The Networks is the game.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. What about you? What's your chat sim?
Well, sir, mine is an album. So with the new decade, new year starting, I'm reopening all of my I do year lists of albums I listened to, games I played. I'm kind of thinking about restructuring how I do those this year to sort of more focus on things I interacted with, not necessarily finished. Because films you can say you finished, and albums you can say you finished, but there are singles I listen to more and I don't listen to the full album, or games I I play a lot of MMOs and that's not possible to quote unquote finish. So trying to think about that, but I am getting back into listening to music. So today, actually, as of this recording, I was listening to a bunch of albums, and the one that struck a big chord with me was from just late last year. It's called Every Letter I Sent You, and it's by an artist called, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, Yerin Baek, which she's a Korean singer who was part of a K-pop duo for a year or 2 years, and then they like split up, and they both separately did really cool solo work.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of really wonderful like chill stuff. I will say this album I can recommend because it's in English. Every Letter I Sent to You, like she sings in really like kind of like chill indie music style, but with like a great voice and a really amazing range. She has some cool features on there, some of whom you actually sing like in Korean on English songs.
Oh, cool.
It's like a cool blending. I don't know. I think January to March for a lot of people is just really hard, like for mood and for like once your vacation days are done, it's like now I'm just working.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, I know Michelle's feeling that.
I'm about to end 2 full weeks off, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah. But like this kind of album is so good for just like, it's cold. I just want to listen to her talk about like love and like being loved and the feeling of like being in a new relationship. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
But like it's so tender and it like feels like a warm beverage, you know, on a cold day. So Every Letter I Send You by Yerin Baek. Yerin, her last name Baek. So if you want to look that up. Yeah. And that, dear sweet listener, before I say that, thank you to Magellan for being the rock to my heart place.
Thank you.
We're holding
my
hands.
hand.
Your hands are very warm, man.
Yeah, I've been putting them under my arms.
Ooh.
I don't know if I've been doing that. I've been playing with these cards.
Can you shuffle the cards into the mic though?
Yep.
He's getting the cards ready. Wow. Fudge, dude. Thanks to Magellan for being the rock to my heart place, as always, especially in these trying times. January. No, I love this guy. Are you kidding me? Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. This is going to do it. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Chatzylon 5. Peace.
Bye.